It's my pleasure to welcome you here to the Clark Howard Show. You know, our mission is to serve you with advice and information that empowers you so you can make better financial decisions in your life. And today, I'm going to talk about a couple of things I want you to know. Later, I'm going to talk about an update on how to shop for airfare. There's a game of cat and mouse going on with the airlines trying to force us into higher fares. I'm going to tell you what you need to know to protect your wallet when you're buying a ticket. That's later. And right now I want to talk about why I have been obsessed for so long with you, if you are an investor, having a meaningful portion of your investment dollars inside an investment account, retirement account, invested overseas. You know, the United States represents somewhere around 5.5%, 6% of the world's population and represents a little more than 20% of the world's economic activity. But most Americans, if they are investors for retirement or investors, period, invest only in the U.S., not in funds that invest overseas. And over the last 15 years, that was a great win. Because if you were diversified around the globe, the U.S. outran most of the rest of the world over a 15-year window. Very unusual. And now U.S. holdings are much higher valued versus the profits of companies than is the case outside the United States. Now, I've always been into investing worldwide because economies generally around the world have been growing faster than our economy. And again, if you're only investing in the United States, you're missing the economic growth story around the world, where again, 94 to 95% of the world's population lives. And in terms of economic size, somewhere close to 80% of the world's economic activity is not here in the U.S. And it does not make you unpatriotic to invest outside the United States. Would you say that an American company that sells overseas is unpatriotic selling overseas? No, that's what we want. We want our companies to be so successful, they're selling other places. And so you do have some exposure to overseas by owning American companies that sell outside the United States, but you're still missing a big part of companies that are owned elsewhere. So I ask you, when you think about allocating your money, think about at least having a portion of your investments outside the United States. That doesn't mean you have to open an account overseas. It just means with the index funds and mutual funds you might choose from, or ETFs, exchange traded funds, that you have exposure to companies outside the United States as well as inside the United States. It protects you, like now with the dollar having fallen a lot in value. It protects you by having holdings outside the United States. It's just one example. But having money around the globe, if you are an investor, is part of lowering the risk of your portfolio, and over the long haul may in fact get you a higher overall return.
Speaking of returns, Javon
Yes.
in North Carolina says, do you suggest a credit union like Navy Federal or an online bank like Ally for day-to-day banking? For example, a checking and savings account.
Well, they serve different purposes. If you're a Navy Federal account holder, it's the world's largest credit union. It's a giant. You have all the normal bank type services, and you have branches in so many facilities by so many bases in so many big cities. So you have the physical presence as well. Ally, as an online bank, is online only, obviously. And if you're somebody who never, ever, ever needs to walk into a bank branch, you're fine with an online bank like Ally. If you feel like you're occasionally going to need the services of a branch, then that would give the nod to Navy Federal. Plus, Navy Federal offers really good deals on loans that often are superior to what you can get from an online bank or a physical bank. And that's one of the great advantages of being a credit union member.
And we do have an article at Clark.com, Best Online Banks, Free Checking and High Interest Savings Accounts, if you want to check that out. Corey in California says, my wife and I are looking to purchase a minivan to haul our kids around. We are debating whether to go with an older used traditional gas van or a new hybrid van. We really like the Toyota Sienna hybrid, but we're not sure if it's worth the higher cost to get a hybrid. We both work from home, so we don't have drive a lot of miles, probably around 4,000 or 5,000 a year. Our oldest child is 3, so we plan on keeping the car a while. Love to know what you think.
So, Corey, you got a double dilemma for me. California, where gasoline is one of the states where gasoline is much more expensive than the national average. And at the same time, you drive minimal miles a year. I mean, you think about the average family may be putting 12 to 14,000 miles a year on a vehicle. At 4 to 5, the cost of the fuel becomes less significant as a factor in making a decision. So if you were telling me you're trying to decide, if you get a used van, hybrid or gas, and you're driving that small a number of miles, as long as it checks out well with a mechanic prior to purchase, that the condition of it is good, I think that's the best money spent. More important than buying one that is new, because so much depreciation happens. Vans depreciate at a slower rate than other types of vehicles. They still depreciate. So I would not worry as much about the gasoline. And when you do the Costco runs, that's where you buy your gas, because it's the cheapest place in California to buy gasoline.
Michelle in Virginia says, I'm the PTA president of my kids' elementary school. I recently placed a large order on Amazon for new recess equipment using the PTA credit card. As often happens with this card, it was declined, a separate issue I need to sort out with that bank. Amazon alerted me on my order page that the payment was declined and that I should choose another method. It was the weekend. I wasn't able to call the bank to sort out my issue, so I left the payment method unselected and figured I'd get the issue fixed and then put the order through once it was working again. Monday morning, I logged into Amazon to check something else and was surprised to find my recess equipment order had gone through using a credit card on file I never authorized.
Wait, I've never heard of that. So, wait, have you experienced this before? You go to place an order with Amazon, card gets declined, they on their own automatically just pick another one and charge it to?
Hasn't happened to me, but she figures out why, let me tell you. Amazon didn't even use my default card. I contacted customer service and they said they were unable to change the payment method. They said automatically charging a backup method without notifying the customer or using the default payment method is a setting on my account. After pushing and pushing, I was finally issued a small promo credit as an apology, and Amazon turned off the backup method setting. But this could have been a bigger issue for someone who runs closer to their credit limit or has a family member or other business cards on their account. I wanted to let you know so you can advise your listeners to watch out for this automatic backup payment method setting. My husband and I are big fans of your show.
Well, thank you for that. I'm shocked. I wouldn't. That wouldn't even occur to me that Amazon would have a decline on something. You'd go away from it, and then they'd run it anyway on just go down your list of cards. So this goes to something we haven't talked about recently, and that is the benefit and convenience of storing credit card numbers on a website comes with the added risk of hackers to that site getting your card numbers and things like that. And so with any website, you really have to think through, do you want to store a credit card there? And that's just wild that Amazon doesn't have a procedure where they ask you. They just are you looking to see the setting on your account right now?
I am. I'm looking to see where I can
where in the world would you
that.
even manage it? I see your payment section. Go to your, that's just that is it. So let's see if there's anything there. Settings.
Your purchase preference.
Manage backup payment method. There it is.
Yep. Backup enabled off.
All right.
So you go to settings, and then you have to go to, sorry, I'm going back to make sure I have it exactly right. You go to settings, and then you go to wallet, under payments. You go to settings, and then you scroll down to under payments, and then you go to, where was it? Your payments? Yes, so then you go to your payments. Then you go to, you'll be on wallet. You want to click on settings, and then there's right there your purchase preference. So we'll do something, we'll do an article about this on Clark.com showing you how to turn this off, and maybe we can even do a video on this too at YouTube.
Because think about how many people in their Amazon account use it for business purpose. In this case, it was for a nonprofit you're part of, and personal and all that. And you don't want something that is for one purpose to be charged to a card for another purpose. So absolutely, you want to turn that setting off. And thank you so much for bringing it to our attention. And it's exactly as you said. So this is part of what we're all about, is we're all part of a team together, helping each other, providing information to each other so that we stay out of harm's way. And I'm glad this didn't cause a big problem for you, just a little hassle. And now you've helped a lot of other people that it could have caused a big problem before. Speaking of which, this is a game of hide and seek. I'll talk about a way for you to save money on travel or who knows what. And then somebody in that industry will decide, hey, we don't want people to know about this. We're going to take this money-saving tool away. Let me tell you what's going on when you go to buy airline tickets. All right. The airlines are on to me. I figured out something about airline pricing that I shared with you a good while ago. That when you're buying a U.S. domestic ticket, which almost all travel people do, is within the United States, that it was much cheaper to shop for tickets one way than round trip. And the reason is that the airline that has the cheapest fare one way may not be the one that has the cheapest fare coming back. So as people would shop one way, going one way returning, they were consistently saving a lot of money on their travel. Well, the airlines didn't like that this became a spreading practice, and I wasn't the only one yapping about this. So Thrifty Traveler, which is always watching the airlines for us to see what games they're up to, did recent research that found that half the time now, airlines are quoting higher fares when you shop one way than you do round trip. So it's a 50-50 thing, where before, overwhelmingly, you were getting a cheaper fare shopping your fares one way. And it's forcing me, when I shop for fares, to do it both methods, where I shop fares round trip and then shop them one way to see what is going to get me the lowest price. So far and away, in their research, 2/3 of the time, Delta is quoting higher prices each way if you shop one way than if you shop round trip, to try to keep people from doing what's called, they used to call it plating away, booking away from the airline you fly going, that you fly somebody else returning. And so offering you a lower price round trip basis versus one way. That's skewing it because in the industry otherwise, it's actually a better than 50-50 chance that you're going to potentially save money shopping fares one way instead of round trip. So all it means is that you take a little more time and comparison shop fares one way for your trip and compare round trip for your trip to see what's going to get you the best overall deal. The reality is, up till this change principally by Delta, if you shop fares one way, overwhelmingly you would get a lower fare because of the fact that it's just math, that whoever's cheapest going likely won't be the cheapest returning. So you're going to have to do a little more puzzle work to figure out the best deal. But who consistently pays too much for their tickets? People that are brand loyal to a single airline. Leave that for the corporate travelers charging to their companies. The rest of us need to be free agents every time we shop for a ticket.
All right.
How about thrifty traveler figuring out that the airlines were starting to change on this?
Love it. All right.
It was just saving people too much money. The airlines didn't like that.
Okay, John in Virginia says, "Hi, Clark. My wife and I would like to take a river cruise in Europe in 2027 to celebrate our 10th anniversary. We're looking at some of the higher-end lines, including AMA, Uniworld, and Avalon. This will be a pricey trip, but I'd like to try and wear my Clark-shaded goggles where I can. So I have a few questions about how to save money. First, do you have any tips about when to book the cruise? Second, one of these cruise lines,
These are not cheap cruise lines.
Sorry, Uniworld is available to book through Costco Travel. Can you please discuss what the advantages there might be of booking through Costco? And I'll accept any other tips you may have."
All right. So first things first, I need to tell you, John, people are so polarized about river cruise companies. It's amazing. Like, go look at reviews online. And with river cruises, more than traditional cruise lines, you'll find totally polarizing 5-star reviews and 1-star reviews. It's like there's nothing in between. People's expectations of river cruises often are based on what they may have experienced with traditional ocean cruises. They're very, very different experiences. Before you book with AMA, Uniworld, Avalon, or the big players, Viking, before you book with any river cruise, go spend time reading reviews thoroughly. Because the things that people are objecting to that are posting the 1-star reviews may be things that you say, they're ridiculous, or, oh man, that would upset me too. And try to figure it out that way. I also really like with river cruises, unless you're somebody who's done a lot of river cruises, that you go to a very experienced cruise agent, either a cruise agency or somebody who all they do is cruises at a traditional travel agency. Because, yeah, you're going to save money at Costco Travel, but they're not going to give you the kind of advice, deep advice I want you to have before you spend the money on a river cruise. Because somebody who's really, really involved in that is what they do is going to be really valuable to you at giving you a sense of not just what's the cheapest price, but what's the best cruise for who you are, your lifestyle, and the rest. I'm telling you, I'm trying to think of what other thing I've ever looked at reviews of that people are as crazy about or crazy mad at as river cruises they've been on.
And then the benefit of if you do book through Costco on the one line.
Oh, the discounts. So what Costco does is they rebate a big part of the commissions to you with shop cards. And if you are a Costco executive member and you have the Costco Citibank Visa card, you're getting an additional 5% off the cost of the cruise just by booking through Costco Travel, in addition to the rebating of much of the commission in shop cards.
Georgia in North Carolina says, what is Clark's opinion about using virtual cards for online shopping? Does it help prevent identity theft or scams or my info being sold on the dark web?
It helps a lot, Georgia, but all it helps with is that nobody captures your actual credit card number. So paying with a one-time use card number is the only way to go online. Because so often criminals look at that as a treasure chest. If they can break into the database of an online seller and capture all those credit card numbers, if you've used a one-time only use number, they got nothing.
Also, Tap to Pay does the same thing in person.
Tap to Pay does the same thing in person. Thank you.
Frank in Maryland says, I'm a longtime listener and first-time small business owner.
Congratulations to you being in business for yourself.
I need to apply for a business credit card, and I'm in the process of reading about the best cards, including Clark's recommendations. I'm considering the Sapphire Reserve for Business, which has a lot of benefits, but a very steep annual fee. Since my business is not going to be spending $30,000 in the first 6 months, I will miss out on the new card member offer of 200,000 points. Assuming that I could deduct the card annual fee as a business expense, will it still make the card worth it?
No way, not at all. If your charge volume isn't going to reach $5,000 a month, you absolutely don't want a high annual fee card like the Chase Sapphire Reserve for Business. I know that Chase is advertising that card and promoting it like it's the greatest thing since individually wrapped cheese slices or sliced bread, but it's not. I mean, you got to be a high-volume charger who travels a lot to really make the Sapphire Reserve for Business pay off with the $800, I think it's $800 annual fee for it. Yeah. And so in your situation, you want one of the cards like there's like a Business Quicksilver, and there's nothing wrong. You're going to have to, you'll be personally liable anyway as a business owner. To go with a consumer version card, that'll get you 2% cash back on everything, no annual fee. Those are the cards I think you should think about. And if you go to Clark.com, we have an article on the best cashback cards, and just get whatever's the best one for your situation, and that's what you use. You're not going to have to overcome an $800 annual fee. You're not getting their 200,000 points anyway. So you might as well go something simple, cash in your pocket. And thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that something today, something that triggered in your mind, hey, I should be doing that, or I shouldn't be doing that. And that you're able to use the knowledge in order to booster shot your wallet and your money. Because what we're about in everything we do on social media, the markets I'm on television, the markets I'm on radio, podcasts, YouTube, everywhere you reach us, our Team Clark Consumer Action Center, it's all our newsletters. It's all about empowering with knowledge so you can make better financial decisions in your life, so you can save more, spend less, and avoid getting ripped off. And I'll see you again on Friday.